welcome everybody. Here we are back for another Friday morning of bite-sized conversations. I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media, and with me is
Jenni Walke from Elephant in the Room Consulting.
Yay! And hi. So today we're talking about Clubhouse. So we're excited to talk about that. Some of you are on it, some of you aren't. Some of you got major FOMO because it's only for iPhones or iOS devices at the moment. I personally am just doing a whole lot of listening. I haven't run anything at the moment. I'm just doing listening, and it's blowing my mind. It's chronically addictive for me. What about you, Jenni? What are you doing with it?
I've started to get into just listening to a couple of the rooms, but what I'm really loving is the freedom that people approach the conversations, because it is just voice, so it really feels natural and not quite as planned as you often see on webinars and Zooms, and even conversations like today where we're just kind of having a banter. But I really love the way and really good moderators. What I'm really noticing the difference when you have a really good moderator who asks amazing questions, how different the room is.
Absolutely, I totally agree. So speaking of amazing moderators and people that are just nailing it, so I'm going to bring in Fiona Lucas, and Lisa Monks might be joining us soon, I hope, but yay, we've got Fiona arrived. So welcome into the room in a moment. Let me see. She's in, she just might have her camera off. Yay, here we go. Hello, Fiona.
Hi girls, how are you? Good morning.
Great. So you may not remember, but I met you at Social Media Marketing World last year, just before we came home to lockdown.
Yes, I do remember that, and I am missing it. Normally I would be in America right now, so it's like,
I know.
Photos, that was my first time in 8 years.
Oh, really?
Last year was only my second year, and I knew from there on in I was never going to miss a year. So I'm with you. It's weird, isn't it? To
yeah. Because I was blessed to work for them for the last few years. So wow. I miss they're my second family now. So
yeah, I'll bet. And for me, it's so wonderful being part of that Social Media Marketing Society. I find that amazingly fabulous. And so this is Jenni Walke, who you haven't met before. She's my what do we call it, our digital besties, our digital BFFs.
She's my digital BFF.
Yeah. So and Jenni is a business consultant, so some things that we do cross over, but mostly we're very much in our own lanes. And she's about, how would you say it, Jenni, your superhero statement?
I help, I'm basically a business coach, helping people identify the business of their dreams and essentially creating clarity, structure and process so that they can create sustainable businesses and live the life they want.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
thanks. Yeah, awesome. And so I would love for you to be able to tell everybody what you do, Fiona. I know your business is I Respect Online. I've been stalking you for ages. But would you like to introduce about what you do?
Sure. I'm a social media strategist and online community strategist. So I love working particularly with communities I have over the last few years, mostly around social media marketing world. You would have seen me managing virtual communities there. And as well as working with local business here, because I love to keep in touch with fellow, small business operators. I've done a lot of work with SaaS programs. So I've worked with Wave Video. I'm currently working with StreamYard. It's just fabulous. And all of this came through social media marketing world, really, the connections I've made over the years. So I'm a huge believer in the power of connection, and hence Clubhouse is absolutely fabulous for that. So
hasn't it just?
Yeah.
So I've also been using Wave for a couple of years, ever since my girl crush Mari Smith told us about it at Social Media Marketing World in 2019. And then she told us all about InVideo last year. So I've got both of them going on and love it.
But, I like some features of InVideo. I still find Wave is easier. And I'll say that I don't work for them anymore. So I just I love the ability to layer in video, but there's some brand new features come out in Wave that I haven't even explored yet. So that's starting to really show its strength again now. So
And before we move on to Clubhouse, I'd love to ask you a couple of questions about StreamYard, because I'm in this fantastic group that we got together at Social Media Marketing World for women who run women's networking groups.
Yep.
And so most of them are in the States, and there's just a couple of us here in Australia. And they all rave about StreamYard. So my team and I thought we would try it out. So we just did it as a little team. I want to say Zoom, but obviously a team stream.
Yep.
And what we didn't like immediately was that there was no filters.
Right.
It was a little too raw and real.
So it starts becoming all about your lighting, girls. Okay. Your lighting and your camera. That's where you'll get to play with a few other things depending on what what camera you're using, or if you're using a whether it's a webcam or what. I mean, I find the built-in computer cameras just don't cut it. I use just a little Logitech Brio, which has some softening settings in it. So, that's nice when it's early in the morning and you're a lady of a certain age.
Yeah. That's right.
21, is that right, Fiona? 21?
Yeah, 21 a couple of times.
I just am finding that a little tricky to hear. And in the comment, we've got your voice is not really audible.
Mine?
Sorry.
No, Jenni's.
Jenni. Yeah, Jenni's is a bit soft, actually.
Yeah, it's just because I'm sitting, unfortunately, I'm not home at the moment, so I'm having to sit outside.
I was going to say, I should be right. I've got the mega.
Normally I have a speaker on as well, but I don't today. So I'll try really hard.
Look at her. She's leaning right in. That's very good, Jenni. Thanks. Okay, so Fiona, I just will give a little preface about how we got to be here doing this right now. Is that, I've had loads of FOMO about not getting into Clubhouse, and I was like, come on. Then I got the magical message from you while I was at the porpoise pool in Coffs Harbour, looking at dolphins, and I got the magical message that said, I've got an invite for you if you wanted. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. So there I was looking at a penguin display while I'm trying to get it all happening behind the scenes. It was very, very exciting. And so then the best thing possible is that straight away I got to listen to one of your Clubhouse for Newbies, because otherwise what a schmozzle I would have been in. And I really get it when people say, I've gone in there, I've tried it out, it's not really for me, I haven't found anything I like. So one of the top tips I listened to was about going into your settings and turning that off. What's that little setting
Trending rooms,
yes.
Turning trending rooms off. Number one thing to do.
Got a lot of stuff I didn't need straight away.
Yeah, because especially as more and more countries come on, so it gets super, super busy, and you'll see a lot of, in other languages now starting to appear. So, we've been sort of blessed to get in early. I'm just seeing Lisa is trying to log on now. So just keep your eye out for her.
No worries.
So I think, sorry, it's nothing like getting a ping message to distract you. Turn off notifications when you're speaking on Clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
Because you get that little green bar that keeps coming up all the time otherwise. Yeah. But look, I think the main thing that you really have to be aware of in regards to when you get on Clubhouse is don't just go and follow all your friends necessarily, unless they are aligned with you. But if you've got different business interests and different other interests, there's no need for you to sort of, think, everyone who friends me, I have to friend, because it curates your feed. So what you really want to make sure you're doing is following what matters to you, the people that matter to you. And that's where the bio is so important, because they can tap on that and immediately get a feel for who you are. So I think that's what's really important. Looks like Lisa's finally getting on board here.
Yay. Hi, Lisa.
There she is. We can't hear you. You're muted, darling.
My favourite line.
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, Lisa. Nice to meet you in face-to-face in this way, which is awesome. So I'd just like to introduce you to Jenni Walke, who's my digital bestie. She's normally based in Brisbane, so we're 2 hours away from each other, but Jenni's away at the moment. So she's in a cafe, and it's a little bit tricky to hear her, but I'd like to introduce you to Lisa, who has Chipmunk Media. And Lisa and Fiona have been doing these beautiful rooms together or clubs, you might call it. But anyway, we'll find out more about that in a moment. But Lisa and I, what was awesome is that you'll notice as you join Clubhouse, let me reword that. When you have brought somebody into Clubhouse, so you've given them an invitation and they've joined, you get a little notification saying they've just come in. Have you got a moment to spare to, chat with them or, explain it to them? So luckily for me, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up in a space with just me, Lisa, and somebody else, Francesca Moy.
Francesca Moy, yeah.
Yes. Francesca left pretty quickly, and Lisa and I was just like, blah, 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 a million questions, and it was amazing. And then I've joined, probably most people only go to a Clubhouse for newbies by you guys once because you learn everything, but I've gone repeatedly because there's always just something new to take on board.
Yeah, people come back with their questions all the time too. So,
yeah, quite a few people come back. We get quite a few repeat visitors that jump up on stage just to say that they've come back to hear what else is new and ask more questions. So it's kind of cool. I thought it would be a one-off, but yeah, we've had many repeat people come in. So.
Yeah, it's so good. So welcome and thanks for joining us, Lisa and Fiona. So I'd like you guys to tell us maybe a little bit about how you got to be doing this, where you're doing it together.
Oh, Lisa, you go.
Well, actually, Fee invited me to the app. Fee's my sponsor to the app, and I joined early. I think it was the 19th of December, I believe it was that joined. And we were just having to play in there. I think mine was the 19th. Yours
I was the 10th. Yeah.
But anyway, so we were just having a play around, and I think Fee was the first one to start a room, and then I started the newbies one like the next day. We were just playing and giving it a go and seeing what it was all about. And then I decided to just do it every day. I thought, this is something that would be really valuable to actually do for everybody, because there's so many people coming onto the app. And I think, we obviously talk a lot offline. Fee and I are good friends. We go way back. We first met at Social Media Marketing World in 2013. So we were chatting back and forth offline. And we're in a lot of similar Facebook groups. And what we were noticing is there were so many people out there dissing Clubhouse without even knowing what it was all about, just saying it was marketers talking to marketers, all the millionaires clubs, it was this and it was that, and it was giving it a very negative spin. And so we decided to do the newbies because people just did not understand how you connect with people on there and how you can make it work for you. Because once you connect with the right people, once you get into the right rooms, once you know your way around the whole system, you really can find yourself in some amazing conversations, unlike any other social media platform out there. And that's what we identified. And that's why we decided to really go full on with Clubhouse for newbies. And I created the website, and now I've just launched our Facebook group. Because I do think it's a space where you can also nurture a community on another platform offline as well. You will probably have noticed your Instagram feed has blown up since you've started hosting your own rooms, or you're getting a lot more conversation and action happening in your Instagram than what you probably previously did have. Well, that's what I'm noticing in any event. And I've heard that from a few people. So it's not only building relationships on one platform, it's taking them and also nurturing them on another. Hence the reason why I decided to open and create the Clubhouse for Newbies Facebook group as well. So that's why we started it, because we saw a need offline and decided to bring the education online, because that's what we both do. We're both social media strategists, we're both trainers, and we're all in this space together. And we just wanted to make sure everyone had the experience that we had when we first got on there and started exploring and spending way too many hours on the app.
Yeah, I certainly recognised early on, because I think my first couple of days, I felt like I was wandering aimlessly in those, in that hallway, and I really didn't know what was going on. So it's so much better when you've been guided through. That's for sure.
I really feel the way I've explained it to people when they ask is two different ways. So one of them is that it feels like I'm at something like Social Media Marketing World. So a big giant conference, I can have chats in the hallways where you might want to go off and get a coffee together or something, where I've been able to be in like smaller workshop style rooms or be at big keynote presenters. And you've just got this phenomenal amount of options. And yet it costs us, as you both know, being here in Australia, for us to go off to a conference like that is thousands and thousands and thousands, plus all that time away from your business as well. And of course, we love a bit of travel, so that's all nice. But having this literally on your phone 24/7 is just phenomenal. The access and exposure that we've got to people, which is probably why I've done no rooms yet. I've just listened and listened and listened and learning. I'm like, if I don't bite the bullet and do it soon, I might never do it because I'll just
do it.
Yes, I'll need to, but every time I'm on there, I'm just learning. I'm loving the people that I'm being exposed to. What about for you, Jenni?
I've actually really, I think I'm one of those people wandering the hallways going, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And I feel like I'm sometimes in a house where there are too many rooms, and every time I go into one, I'm finding myself in the wrong room. And then I go, I'll stay here for a bit. So for me, it's very much new because I guess I'm not a social media marketer. I'm not in that digital marketing space generally. So how to navigate it, I think, is one of the challenges that I'm finding as a newbie in the space. And so those are the tips I would love to know in terms of how you find the right clubs or how you find the right rooms and how you do connect with people, because that's the space when I'm looking at the people who come up on my feed and I didn't know you could turn off notifications and trending options. They're things that I had no idea about till like now. I think that's where the challenge is for somebody like me who wants to get on it. I've got like a half a dozen or so invitations, and I'm like, I don't know who to give them to, and I don't know where to send them. So I would love to hear a little bit more about just that piece about navigating how you navigate the hallways of Clubhouse.
Yeah, sure. Who do you want to speak first? Just let us know, because we've got a lot to say. We've got a lot to say.
I know, I love it.
Yeah. So, well, my little bit would be that if you're not into marketers, don't follow marketers. Okay, because that's going to be part of the thing, is making sure that you're looking at the interests that matter to you, and what is your intention? How do you want to be found on the app? So making sure that your bio reflects that intention of the kind of people you want to connect with, who you are. So putting your personal thing in there, don't just make it, all about you, and be mindful of who you're connecting. But exploring the rooms is a really good way, because you'll find speakers you resonate with and you might go, I want to go back and see them again. But, if you don't like a room and it really doesn't resonate, you can always hide it as well. You can swipe right and hide it. So I won't, I could talk and talk, but I'm going to give Lisa some time too. So we're good moderators.
Being able to hide the rooms, I really love, because I've been getting ones, I think, because of the background and just who I've connected with online. So being able to hide rooms and things like that, what a great tip, just to be able to get rid of some of that clutter so we can focus. I love that.
Yeah, no, and that was a new feature that they brought in just relatively, was about a week ago, a week or two ago, that they brought that feature in. So that was most welcomed by many. And as the app gets more advanced, we're going to have more people on there, and it's going to be an important feature. Now, one thing that I would say, and it kind of touches on what Fiona said, when you go into many different rooms, but if you find yourself in a room that is really engaging and really interesting, I wouldn't only focus on the speaker. I would focus on the people that are sitting around you in the audience, because the person who is generally speaking, who has opened the room, might be the expert in that field. But the people in the audience around you are your people. Are your they're the people that you would bump into the hallways or sit next to at a conference, start up a conversation, and who knows what that leads to. So the serendipitous moments, just by tapping somebody's bio around you in a room and seeing what they're about, and they may very well align with what you are about because you're in the same room listening to the same subject matter. So I recommend going into many different rooms. If you like the speaker, definitely follow them, definitely tap that little bell and the icon so you get more of their rooms, but also take note of who is in the audience around you, and also scroll down to the bottom of the speaker's bio and you'll see all the club rooms that they are a part of. And when you do that, that will then take you into their network, because if you are really appreciating them as a speaker, then you may appreciate the people that they look up to and respect as speakers as well. in whatever niche that that you're looking for, whether it's marketing, whether it's holistic or spiritual or adventure, whatever the case may be. When you find those rooms that gel and agree with you and who you are and what you're looking for on the app, start looking at the community that surrounds those people, because that's where you'll make some really amazing connections.
That's a great
I love that tip. Isn't that a great tip, Kylie?
Yes, absolutely. I have been doing that. And also one of the things that I really like is how it shows you who, so you know how it's got those 3 sections. So who are the speakers, then the next section of who the speakers follow.
Yeah.
So I get really excited when I get my little face in that spot.
The front row.
Because that's always the area that I go and explore too and see. So can you talk a little bit about writing people's bios? Because I'm still astounded at how many people have no bio there at all.
I
and
don't
so
have one yet.
Well, there you go. You're going to get some top tips right now of what to do.
Look, if you don't have a bio, it's a little bit like walking into a networking room with a bag on your head, because you're not letting anyone know anything about you whatsoever. And, you know, there's lots of tips you can do, but there's no prescribed way. I know some people are looking for a template, but because we're all individuals, we all have different meanings. It doesn't have to have a prescription around it, but there's a couple of areas that really do matter. Like it's all keyword searchable. That's something that is really important to know. And that those top 3 lines, when you just tap on someone, you get just that little preview and it shows the first 3 lines of your bio. So making them really count and how you want to show up. For example, I'm a social media strategist, as is Lisa. We both have that as our top line. That is, you write social media and you're going to find us. So, you know, and we've got lots of tips. So I'm not going to say them all because I'm going to share them because, you know, we like that. But, you know, first flesh it out, but break it up. So it's not a whole bunch of text. But I have to admit, I went nuts with emojis, because emojis are searchable too. And I thought it looked really pretty. And then I found out that there are a lot of deaf and blind people coming into the app that use transcription services, and they will translate the emoji as it is. So therefore your sentences can start being a bit weird. So I have gone back, they've advised, you know, dot points are good and things like that. So I've pared it back. I haven't completely got rid of them all yet, but I have pared it back because I'm very mindful that what I love about this app is it is so inclusive and we all get a voice.
Yeah.
So I'll let Lisa give you some more tips on bios. Yeah.
Okay, so number 1 tip, aside from those first 3 characters, those first 3 lines, which are all keyword optimized, obviously the higher your words are in your bio, the higher the optimization search when you go into the search engine. So make sure your most important stuff is up there. Next would be either your Twitter handle or your Instagram account is attached to your bio, because currently there is no way to connect with anyone in Clubhouse unless you are up on stage talking to them. So if you're up on stage and you have this amazing conversation and then all of a sudden you're off stage, there's no further way for you to reach those people. So you need to make it easy. You need to be able to enable the conversations to continue. And the only way to do that is by adding your Instagram and your Twitter handles to your actual bio.
That's a really tricky thing I found for me, which I really love the connecting moments. We send a little message and go, wow, that was amazing. I loved listening to that. But you've got to take it that extra step further and more of an effort to find their Instagram, go and, you know, explore them, then send them a direct message and all that, which I love also. But yeah, there's just that extra few steps to get to that point to be able to connect.
And they are going to be fixing it. They did say that they are working on some sort of internal chat feature. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if sooner rather than later they remove the Twitter feature.
Yeah.
Because obviously
right.
Twitter has just launched Spaces. I was literally just on a Spaces directly before coming into this call, and I'm kind of weighing up the two, doing the comparisons between the two, and yeah, the Twitter have made it very easy to continue that dialogue because you're already in the app and you just tap their bio and you already can launch a conversation directly within the chat right there. So I do think that we're going to see something sooner rather than later with Clubhouse integrating some sort of chat feature.
I think that'd be amazing. And why do you think that they chose Instagram and Twitter, not Facebook, for example?
Because Facebook is a real pain. I think even Facebook realised that. You know, I don't obviously know the operating reasons why they actually did that, but I think it's more the fact that people do connect in direct messaging on Twitter. Twitter has always been that really short, sharp communication. I know that there's not as many people on that platform, but it's an easy integration. And perhaps the same with Instagram too. It may have to do with the target audience that they're hoping to attract, hence why they attached Instagram and Twitter. You know, I really don't know their reasoning behind it, but I'm glad that they haven't attached Facebook to it. Yeah.
Going to launch their own, it sounds like. They're already talking about it, so that's not going to...
I just read that article of Murray's last night, which just, and as soon as I read it, I went, of course they are. Probably for me, I imagine they first of all tried to buy it, then they wouldn't have been able to. So then they thought, okay, we'll just start our own.
Yeah, because Mark did jump in. Oh, sorry, Lisa, Mark did jump in the other day. So he was obviously sussing it out.
Yeah.
You know, I think what everyone's forgetting too is Facebook did have an audio feature. They disabled that. I think it was like in 2000 and
it's ages ago.
Or 2017, but they did have an audio feature. It was first available, I think it was on Android, then rolled out, it stopped on Android, and then it stopped on iOS. But so they have the hardware to do this. It's already there, and they stopped it. So it's a matter of how they're going to reinvigorate that and in what form they're going to bring that back. But they do have the tech there to be able to do it. Now, what I will say is Twitter Spaces, the audio is amazing. So much better than Clubhouse. So that's an interesting thing. So it'll be interesting to see how Clubhouse develops with their actual, with the audio, because it is the whole basis of their app. So, and once again, it'll be interesting to see what Facebook do with it as well.
That is such an interesting point, because I know when I was doing my little one-on-one with you and I was saying, how does this sound, or how does this sound? I wear hearing aids. So when I had the Bluetooth through my phone, then you could hear me really well. But when I just had me speaking with it on speaker, you couldn't hear me so well, for example. So I think people need a few tips around, actually, should you be wearing your pods, for example, or what better way? Because obviously it is only for your phone at this point.
Yeah, and pods definitely are better audio-wise. If you've got your pods on, it definitely makes hearing. There's a night and day contrast between when you have your pods in and when you're listening to it on your phone. But when I listened, like say for example, to Spaces this morning, it didn't matter if I didn't have my pods in. The audio was still really clear and crisp and very radio-like. And everybody in the audience was the same. You can't say that in Clubhouse, because everybody's audio is different when you get on and the way it comes through. So, but yeah, definitely a tip is use some sort of earbud, your ones that you get with your iPhone. I was just about to say Android. Sorry, Android listeners, that's not the case just yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, I was just going to say too, being mindful of your background noise, so that the polite thing, when you come up into a room, because at the moment it still defaults if you come up to speak with your microphone on, so you need to mute it straight away, and that's just that mindful kind of interaction, because and I for some reason in my head I picture the Facebook version being really noisy, and I think it's just because Facebook's really noisy. So that's one of the things that I look at, and that reference to why they put Twitter on. There are a lot of academics and things like that on Clubhouse, and that tends to be, it's either LinkedIn or mostly Twitter where you find academics tend to go. So I think they definitely added Twitter into go around that market as well, because that's where I've found a lot of the people that I've started looking at in some of the tech areas that I'm interested in. Sort of they are all on Twitter rather than Instagram, but a lot of them are starting up just to base Instagram now, just to say this is my Clubhouse connection. So they're not going to make it all pretty or whatever. That's just literally so they can have that other conversation. Yeah.
Good for Instagram too.
For you,
what was that, Jenni?
Social media lady. Can I ask 2 questions? I'd love to hear, because I'm mindful of our time. Stephen Tuhol, from one of our wonderful people who join us every week, has asked any advice on searching rooms other than just using the topic line in Clubhouse. So how do you find the room that you want?
Well,
But
currently
also,
rooms are not searchable. They may be bringing that feature in, but currently rooms are not searchable. So what I highly recommend is if you find a room where you have a speaker that has a regular show, you definitely mark your calendar, and you know, so you know that it's coming up. You can go, and when they schedule events, see, if you follow them and then you tap the little bell, and then you tap the little plus sign next to it, that will then, you'll get notified when they schedule a room, and then you can add it to your calendar. You can actually tap that event and it will open up a portal where you can actually add it to your offline calendar. So you can keep track of scheduled events, but you can't search for rooms that are happening right at that moment. So the only way for doing that is obviously following the people who hold and conduct these rooms, so you get a notification when they do go live. So hopefully they're going to make searching of rooms a little bit easier in the future, but currently it's a little bit of a journey to be able to search those rooms down that you're looking for. So the best advice is just make sure you are following and have all the notifications ticked to receive everything that they do, if that's a person that you really want to make sure you don't miss.
And if I could
Very
add
good.
to that too,
Yeah.
if there's a club you're interested in and they host rooms, that can be another way. I know the Vegemite Club is putting all the Aussies in at the moment. So they had a big chat last night and were asking us to, they said that's been very hard because you can't search the flag, etc. So they're wanting to make a place where, you know, all Australians can find and anyone can run a room off that club. So they also, I think, have access to quite a lot of invites. So if you do have a group of people you're trying to get in, that could be a way of approaching them, because once you've got a club, I believe they get given sort of bulk amounts. We don't like talking about clubs that much because we're still waiting for our own to come through.
Why do you think that's happened, that you're still having to wait for your club?
Well, I think that it's two factors, definitely. There's two factors to this. First of all, they've just been completely inundated, I think, and there's quite a backlog. They have actually, for the last yesterday and not the day before, but the day before that, they had switched off the functionality to apply for a club. So I do think they're doing a bit of catch up. Now, the second thing is, and this is good to note for anybody who's intending on creating a club or applying for a club, when you apply for a club, it actually asks you in the application that you have to put your user handle in there, and then but you do it without putting the little @ symbol. The problem with myself, and I know Fiona as well, is when we started on the app, our username was our name. So my username was Lisa Monks, and then I applied for a club. Sorry, then I applied for a club. And then I changed my user handle to @socialmediagal. So there's a disconnect there already. They're searching for the wrong person because they find you on your user handle, not the name that you sign up with, but it's your user handle. That's how they find you. And so because I changed my user handle, and because you're going through this massive, massive backlog, by the time they get to my application, it's not the right user handle. So I sent an email, and I don't know if that's going to get rectified because it's all in beta. Who knows how the whole application process behind the scenes, who knows how that all goes down. So yeah, if you decide you want to open a club yourself, make sure you do not change your user handle before it is approved.
So what would be your top tip then for how to choose your user handle?
Well, as Fee mentioned with the bio, when we were talking about social media gal, is if you were to type in social media, you can find me. So with your username, I would recommend being very strategic. If you are wanting to be found in a particular industry, in a particular niche, then you could definitely change your user handle to that. So as I said, mine is social media gal. It might be different if you're saying to meditation gal, or whatever the case may be. But whenever that word is typed into your search, you're going to come high up into the search engine. What I do not recommend is using your business name or your, because no one knows your business on this platform. Unless you have a well-known name, like unless your name is Pink and you are Pink, I wouldn't recommend you using your brand name or your username unless it's something that is well-known amongst others, because otherwise it is a waste of SEO gold.
Yeah.
If that's what your goal is, if your goal is to be found in a particular industry under a particular niche, I would be very, very strategic with that username. If you are not worried about people finding you in that way, if it's not an issue, then yeah, sure, use your nickname, use whatever name that you want. But just know that is one of the number one ways to rank on search in Clubhouse is your user handle.
Right, that's a great top tip. Thanks. I just like to say a couple of things that I find super frustrating about it. And one of them is when I'm asked to speak in a room or to stand up on stage, and I'm actually lying in bed with my headphones in and shouldn't be speaking at all and probably should be asleep, then I can't even get up on stage and go, actually, I'm in bed. So I'm just listening. So I find that kind of odd that people would just ask you to come up without even knowing if that's really appropriate. And of course, unfortunately, you can't send them a little message and go, look, I would, but I can't at the moment. I know there's been odd times I've been listening to other people and then they're suddenly like, oh, I'm just taking the kids to school and I'll just keep talking. Like, they've got this amazing room going on and then they're like complaining to the kids about hurry up, get in the car. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of odd. Probably that's a moment for you to kind of step down a moment and just be listening. So what's your thoughts around that?
When you're invited up, it actually does give the option to say not right now. So, it's different if you've put your hand up because they're going to bring you up. But yeah, if I'm in the middle of something and I can't do it, I'll tap that, maybe later. I think it says something like that.
Yeah.
So I can't talk now, maybe later.
I guess I just feel rude not to explain why or something.
You don't need to have to know. Look, it does. It's like the etiquette of quietly leaving, right? You don't need to explain anything. You're just going to come into a room and leave a room when you need to leave a room. One of the little things I do when I know if I'm busy and I am just listening, I've got my little, I've created some little graphics and I've got I've got little emoji, a bitmoji of me sitting on a couch going, just listening kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you change your picture.
Provided you got good mods that are constantly refreshing, they'll see that. If they don't refresh the room, like pull down the screen, pull the refresh, it doesn't actually update for everybody else that image. But I often will, if I start the day with that on, knowing that I'm not going to be speaking, that is something that then they see that. The only problem I hate about that, though, is that if they haven't refreshed when I join and I actually want to, I can have that just listening showing for a minute until they... So, it's a little bit catch-22 sometimes, but there are fun ways that you can...
that's a great tip.
Yeah.
So thank you. So one of my other complaints, and I'm sure it's a lot of people, and it almost feels terrible to even say it because I know they're in beta testing. I know it's just, exploding so fast. It would be so hard to keep up with, but it seems to me so incredibly glitchy, but weirdly not for everyone at the same time. So for example, I was listening in a room the other day. It was a huge room. There was loads of people from the UK and they kept cutting in and out. And then it basically became a known thing that England's having issues, England and Clubhouse. And so probably what they should have done is just gone, but they kept persevering. And it was so incredibly hard to be listening. So, I left the room, but it was a shame because it was an amazing space. Yesterday, for example, I couldn't get on at all for a couple of hours. And that was frustrating too. There was something I really wanted to be in there listening to. And as you know, you can't decide you want to listen to it later. You've just missed it. So then is that problem going on for me? Is that problem going on for everyone? It's hard to know what's going on. What are your thoughts around the glitchiness?
The glitchiness is off the charts at the moment. It's especially the last couple of days. It seems to be whenever they get a super high profile person on the app that fills the rooms up in its entirety, it glitches. Like yesterday they had Karen West and what's his name? Tesla dude.
Right.
Elon Musk. Oh God, he'd die if I said Tesla dude, wouldn't he? Yeah, so, and then they had Zuckerberg on the other week, and every time there's any huge groups, it really stresses the whole network out across the whole platform, not just the room that they are in. So it really affects the integrity of the whole system. So that's obviously something that Clubhouse is going to have to work on, and it's not something that we as individuals have any control in whatsoever. It is the integrity of the Clubhouse back of end systems, and hopefully they'll be able to get some stability to it. Obviously, perhaps with, say, the UK, perhaps that's where the servers are, and for that particular area, and hence that's the reason why, in your room, for instance, it was just the UK audience that was glitching out. But yeah, it is a problem. The glitchiness in Clubhouse is an issue, but we all have to remember that it still is in beta, and that is why it is still only available on one device, the iOS system. Because could you imagine what it would be like if they open it up to the world, if they allowed all the Android users on, every single man and his dog on there, and it was experiencing these types? It would crash the system like that. And
people would even not bother.
Yeah, so I think we just need to be patient, and we all just need to understand that this is a relatively new platform. I mean, it has been around since March last year, but it's only been in the last couple of months that it's seriously exploded. I think it was like 600,000 in December, and now it's up to nearly 6 million is the recorded numbers now. So it's been exponential growth in a very, very short period of time. And that's the reason why I think people need to be a little bit patient, a little bit understanding. We're blessed to be able to be on the platform in its early beta stages and to go through that whole growth period from the very beginning. I think that's really kind of special to be able to experience in that. I do understand the FOMO of those people that can't get on at the moment, and the Android users that can't get on. But it's not because people have said we do not want Android users. It's purely because of they're building out these systems. They're trying to nut out these glitches that we're all experiencing to enable the platform to be an amazing social media platform. And I think until they manage to do that, we're going to continue seeing these glitches until they manage to iron those all out. So there's nothing that we can really do. I do just think if you find yourself in a room that's frustrating you so much because of the glitchiness, as unfortunate as it is because they don't get recorded, you just kind of step away and you go find another room that works for you.
Yeah, very good tip. So just to finish off, ladies, I'd love it if you'd both leave us with your top tip of the day, or what you love the most about Clubhouse.
Wow. There's so many things to say. I think what I love about it is what I said, touched on before, was that it's a great equalizer. There's the ability, I mean, yes, there are some rooms where, it's a lot of egos going on, but for the most part, this is a platform where you actually can get your voice heard, that people will give you the time to speak and to share that knowledge. And as you said about, we talked about how it feels like you're at a conference. I feel like it's like after you've had that conference and you're all, you've gone into the pub or the bar and you get to sit together. There's that more, the small rooms in particular are so intimate. So, they really are, they really make my heart sing, the ability to be heard and to share other points of view. And that is, I think, something that the world was crying out for after, with COVID and politics and everything else. So, that's what I love about it. And I think the top tip is to just get in there, actually, do come to Clubhouse for newbies so that you do understand, you've got a better basis to go from. But definitely jump into rooms, give it a go. And sorry, Android people, you'll just have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. Thanks, Fiona. And how can people connect up with you? We've got it in the caption, but let everybody know that's listening on the podcast, etc., how they can touch base with you.
Sure, they can find me on Facebook under I Respect Online. I'm on LinkedIn as Fiona Lucas. I Respect Online on Twitter and Instagram as well, and social media fee on Clubhouse.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fiona. And Lisa, what about you? What do you love the most? What's your top tip and how can people connect?
I love the Mo. I love the app because it is a very authentic and real app. You can have very real, authentic conversations. You know, you can't hide behind your voice. Unlike any other social media platform where you create content, it can be a photo and then you caption it and you can say what you want. But the reality is when you are talking to people with your voice only, you tend to really hone in, you listen to what they're saying, and you will soon find out if what they're saying is a whole lot of BS or if it's true from the heart and real. It doesn't take long to cut through. I was going to say something else, but I'll say cut through the mess. It doesn't take long to cut through the mess and really find out what they're all about. And as Fee said, it is a real equalizer. Everybody comes onto the platform with 0 followers. It's a brand new platform, and the connections and the serendipitous moments you can have with people that you would never in your lifetime have the opportunity to meet, let alone speak and get advice from, is next level. You know, it's a matter of finding those rooms that really work for you. And the key number one thing in Clubhouse is it's not about who is following you. It's all about who you are following. If you follow the people that are interesting, that you connect with, that you want to listen more, that's the information. They're the rooms that you're going to see in your hallway. And I'm going to leave it with whatever you do you, be you on Clubhouse, because your authentic self will absolutely shine through.
Yes, I love that so much. Thank you very much.
They were great tips.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm really, tell everyone how they can get in touch with you, Lisa.
Okay, so I on Instagram, I am Chipmunk Media. So that's CHIPMONK Media, Chipmunk Media. On Twitter, on Instagram, I'm Lisa Monk's Chipmunk Media on Facebook. And we've just created the Clubhouse for Newbies Facebook group. So do hunt that down, and it'll be a place where you can come and ask questions if you like and meet other people who are joining the platform, and then so you can connect on that platform as well. So yeah, that's Clubhouse for Newbies. We've got the website clubhousefornewbies.club, and then that will give you that will outline a whole lot of tips on there. And if you're wanting to obviously join a newsletter, you can do so as well. We're just wanting to really just be sharing as much as the app grows, as it develops. We want to be sharing as much information as we can so people can grow with the app and be kept up to date. So
it's so wonderful. Now, what I'd like to do is, we haven't had a chance to talk about the business side of it, how you could grow your business from it. So I run a webinar on Monday afternoons. It's also free for anyone that wants to join. And I'm doing the topic of Clubhouse. And I wanted to know if you both or either of you might be interested in joining. And it's at 2:45 New South Wales time. And it's to specifically talk about the business part of it. So how, excuse me, how to monetize it, for example, or should you even be monetizing it at this point? Or should you be, I've heard some amazing things from people that have just blown their businesses out of the water through direct through Clubhouse. So if we could maybe, I'll get in touch with you off here anyway and just see if you're keen to join. But yeah, it'd be wonderful to talk about that whole nother patch of it. And
yeah, what so time was that? Sorry, was that 1:30?
New South Wales.
We've got
for
newbies
1 hour.
We'll have newbies at 2:30 New South Wales time, Lisa. But we might be able to do something.
Yeah, we might be able to bring that forward to maybe one. I don't know. We'll chat about it offline. If we can make it, we'll be there. But we do have our newbie session. But yeah, we'd love to join if possible.
Awesome. And we could even just do a little quick segment of it anyway, where you pop in at a time that works. So, excuse me, awesome to connect with you ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. And Jenni, how can everybody get in touch with you?
I'm at Elephant in the Room AU on Instagram and Facebook, EITR on Twitter, and Jenni Walke on LinkedIn. So love to catch up.
And on Clubhouse,
EITR Jenni, but that might change after this conversation.
Mine are we changing too? That was some fabulous tips. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media. We'll be seeing you either Monday afternoon or next Friday for another bite-sized conversations. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it, Fiona and Lisa.
Thank you so much for having us.
Have a great day. Bye.
See you.